Beep beep. What is up, ninjas? My name is Sevenn, and that's the sound we're making in today's tutorial. Now, one of you guys sent me an email on how to make Sevenn style bass lines, especially a specific song. I did try doing it. I got close to it. It was definitely similar to it, but it just wasn't exact, and I wasn't happy with the sound and warrant making a tutorial. However, I spent 4 or 5 hours trying to make it, so I'm like, you know what? Today I'm making a Sevenn fucking tutorial because this is crazy. So as usually, you know, I like to go online and learn from other people if they've done a better job or there's something I'm missing. I still do that to this day, even as a sound designer that has a lot of sound banks, which a lot of people support. However, it turns out Sevenn actually made a tutorial because he's stuck inside due to the coronavirus, and he's quite a character. I love his style.
No, don't do corona. No, no, coronavirus, no, no, stay home.
It's very fun guy, very funny. I didn't picture him like that. I thought he'd be like a little bit of a hard ass compared to like his profile pics and stuff. However, I watched the tutorial, and today we're gonna be going over what I learned from the tutorial and explaining it down. It's gonna be a lot of layers. We're gonna be utilizing Serum, but as always, if you want to support my channel, guys, you can head over to evilsounds.com. You can find a lot of my sound design work. Best way you can support me, I have a bunch of G-House packs which have bass lines like this. Probably not as good sounding as the one we're gonna make because it's hard to get a preset to sound that good. But again, you can use those in multiple layers to get something similar to this. With that being said, let's get straight into the tutorial. Alright guys, and welcome inside of Ableton. Now today I'm gonna try my best to... Alright guys, and welcome inside of Ableton. Now the way Sevenn explains his bass creation process is that he utilizes 4 layers. He has a low layer, which is usually going to be a sub, like a sine. He's going to have a low mid layer, which is going to give the sound more body. And then he's going to have the mid layer, which is going to be a superstar sound. And what that means is the one you're going to hear. It's the main one. It's the one you recognize from boom, 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 boom. You know, that sound from that song he had with Tiesto. And then you're going to have a top layer, which is usually going to be a percussive click just to make the sound hit a little harder. Utilizing a percussive click in any sound you have where you want to give the impression that it slaps harder, it's always a great technique that you can use. It's been done in big room. You can do it, put a kick and then put a little hat on top of the kick like certain artists do in order to get that. But that's a cool little technique just to have for any time you want to do that. Now, when they all play together, you're going to get something that sounds like so. Now, in creating your sub bass, it's pretty simple. What you want to do is just you're going to go in. Usually people want to go with a sine. Now, if you're going for Sevenn style bass lines, a lot of them are punchy. So it'll be kind of weird if you have a sub that sustains all the way through. So you want to make sure you shape it similar to your other sounds. Now, usually when making punchy sounds, you want to have the sustain low, obviously, and then your decay is going to control the punch, how long it takes to go from max volume all the way down. So we can go with a value around 400, 500. Sevenn adds a little bit of sustain to it, which is cool if you're looking to sustain this bass out, as you still get the punch. But when you sustain it down, you can still hear it, and sustain controls the volume. As long as that MIDI note is held or you have MIDI information, it's going to be holding it there. Okay, so we're going to have it there. I'm going to mono legato this. I'm going to RM phase this down so that it sounds powerful at all times. The problem with having RM phase all the way up at 100 is that when you click, you get a little bit of differences in each hit. While the RM phase, you always start at the same location on your side. And it doesn't sound like you lose power in 1 second and whatnot. So it's more constant. It's more reliable, let's just say. With that, we use an EQ here just to let this guy know that we only want this to target, again, our low information there. From there, we move on to the low mid. Now, in the low mid, Sevenn opts to use a saw with 4 voices detuned. It's going to give you more of a wide low end, which sounds like, again, very similar kind of envelope to that of the sub. Again, you want these sounds to have similar settings just so that it sound unified rather than like 4 sounds with different like settings and stuff. Okay, so doing this, we're just going to put 4 voices, detune a bit. We're going to use our low pass filter here to, again, give this a... If I take it off, obviously we lose that, so we need a filter to give it shape. So if I want to apply my envelope 1 after I've programmed it, I can left click drag and then tell it how much I want it to open up. Now, the cool thing here, guys, is you don't have to go for this sound. You can go and make a new one. Like you could go in and grab something like this. And that's going to give you like a different vibe. You can try finding ones that are strong. Like if you're going for more of the donk one that he has in a track called Love Something, which is the one I was trying to make, you would probably go with something more like this, as that's going to give you more of the donk, more of the sidechains kind of kind of knock that you need. But for now, we'll go and utilize a saw with 4 voices. This one, the RM phase stays up just because we do have 4s and some detunement, and we don't want to get a little bit of phase issue. So that's going to give us more of the wide one. So with those 2 layers, it's going to sound like, okay. From there, we move on to the super star sound with, okay. Now creating these kind of sounds, we'll make a new one for this bass. It's pretty simple. Again, we're going to shape it similar to what we have already. We're going to utilize a filter. I'm going to pull this down. Around there. Okay, now it's going to sound a little different because I do have a little bit of processing that we're going to talk about this. But again, in this process here, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going in with a filter and just finding wavetables that work, that sound similar to what we want. So for instance, I could go with a monster. That one sounds kind of cool. And then we're going to add maybe 4 voices. Let's see if we can find one that's a little better. Just fine tuning that detunement. And then we can add another one. Let's see if we can find one that goes well with. We're going to route this to the filter. From there, we're going to distort it. We might add a bit of OTT to it. Now, when you usually do this, you can see that you lose all power in the sound. So if I have this up, this increases volume, but you lose the dynamics. Now you can use a filter to bring those dynamics back here. And now we can use, and this guy is going to allow us to get it back, and it's going to give the sound the dynamics back that it had when we had this filter on it. Now you can also turn this one up. But again, you're going to lose a bit there. Pretty cool there. Okay. From there, we're going to EQ the sound. Obviously, we're making room for everything. So the low mid sound is going to cover this area of the frequency. Our low is going to cover the low end region, the sub frequencies. And then our mid bass is going to be more of the mid and the high. So that way when they play together, we get something like sorts. Now, okay. From there, our top layer is going to be more of a perk. Now, creating a perk, you're going to make the decay on this guy a little bit shorter than the rest. And what you're going to do is you're essentially going to use sine waves. You're going to grab an envelope and route that to the pitch or the course of your sound here. Now, the way I like to do this a little differently, just so that you alter everything, is you can go into the matrix and route envelope 2 to your master tune. You go to global, master tune there, envelope 2 here. And then you're going to route it to anything. So if I put a sub in here, and then from there, I'm going to use a very low decay value on this guy just to get the knock. In the effects, a bit of distortion and just the Haas effect, which is going to be essentially going into time, left side 1, right side 7.67. That's going to allow us to get, again, the width that we need. I can also put these down 1-1 if you want it mono. So again, it's going to be up to you there. Now with all of that, we get, again, the main sound, but there's a bit of processing we have to do as well. Now, another cool option that you can do, guys, is you can utilize the Cashmere Volume 3 sample pack, which has a lot of bass sidetrance one-shots. You can also utilize any sample pack if it's sidetrance. A lot of these bass lines have a very nice click in the beginning of them, which you can utilize. For instance, we can try this one out and put it here. We're going to utilize the Haas effect again here. You can do it with a normal delay. We've talked about it already, but I like the kilohertz one. It makes my life a little easier. And we can use it to either get the click, so that way we have the click from there, or you can even use this as a layer for your track. So that's another cool way to do it. Now the next thing we can do, guys, is utilize Fabfilter Saturn, which Sevenn does. And he talks a little bit about just saturating the sound. When you're saturating the sound, you're adding a bit of harmonic frequencies to the sound to get a little bit more uppers, to get a little bit more out of the sound. It also has a bit of a compression effect on it. So here we're just utilizing Fabfilter Saturn. Now usually the way you use this is simple. You have 3 bands that you can create. Just click, click. And we're going to be on this sound just targeting, again, the mids and the highs, as this is where majority of the sound lies. So I could go in and boost highs on this sound. And you can see it kind of elevates it a bit from there. And then we can add a bit of drive just by moving this bad boy to the... Now, another cool thing you can do with this is, let's say you just have this bass with low end, is that you can separate bands. Let's say you want to do this in one take. And you can saturate your low end with a very mellow clean tube or warm tube, or even just a smooth, gentle sat. And then we can do the mids different. Let's get rid of this guy here if we can real fast. There, we didn't need that. There we go. And then this guy here, we can go and start getting crazy. And then we can also kind of EQ. The highs could get fucked. So that way, use everything. But again, you can destroy the sound, so you got to be really careful with it. So a lot of times, most people will just saturate normally on the sound itself, like so, and boost. Fine, guys, the last thing is to process the sound. Now, in the video, Sevenn shows a fat rack, which he doesn't really show. So you're going to have to use your own. Maybe you have the Virtual Riot one or one that you already have for yourself. What I've decided to do is just put a little bit of OTT to the sound, which just compresses it even more and like gets a little bit more juice and makes it loud. From there, you can use a span or boost certain frequencies that you think you might be missing in the sound. But again, be sparing with it. You can add high. And of course, in a lot of his songs, he does utilize reverb on the bass just to give it a bit of flavor. But again, I'm going to let you guys decide that on how you want to approach what kind of reverb you want to put and whatnot. But anyways, guys, watch the video. Creating a Sevenn style bassline is simple like that. Again, it does require a little bit of work, but you can also do the exact same thing we did here with presets. Just let's say you have a mid layer there. You could go in and try to find a punchy bass and just try to see. And then from there you can go, guys. But anyways, guys, take care. You guys have a good night, and I'll catch you guys next time.